Well, hello, and welcome back to my channel, Alex Does, the least educational bushcrafting channel on all of YouTube. Welcome back. Stick around for today's episode, it should be really good. It's gonna be a good episode. So I'm gonna be doing another viewer suggested recipe this afternoon, or not, sort of loosely inspired by what was suggested. So that's gonna be good, stick around for that. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Some ingredients that I really enjoy. Other than that, the big issue, the elephant in the room. It's time to start dealing with the fireplace. Now, we know it's been discussed, there's been lots of great suggestions, I think pretty much 100% of which I agree with, and I think I've always known right from the beginning it was something that's going to have to be dealt with. So today I'm going to start that process, and it'll carry on till tomorrow, which, you know, you're going to see next week. Oh, while I think about it, before we get into it, I've got some good news. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep the good news to the end of this video, so stay tuned to the end of this video. Yeah, some good news about the site. So anyway, let's get on with this fireplace. Okay, so let's do some preliminary talking about the fireplace. I'm not going to talk too much because I really just want to crack on with some work. And as I mentioned just before, this is an issue that I probably always knew was going to come up, and my plan to fix this, which aligns with a lot of what everyone was saying and probably knew all the way along, was actually my original plan that I had in my head to do this. I didn't have the confidence in myself and the holding ability of the clay and all those sorts of things was an unknown that I just didn't want to risk doing it the way that it'll make sense. But basically what we've got here is obviously the opening is too big, right? So just to point out the obvious, right now we've got our two base pillars here, and then we've got our big opening up here with our grill across this section here. So obviously that's allowing smoke out of here, and you know, there's some sort of overcompensation there somewhere. So to get us back to a more realistic representation, I think really what we need to be doing is still sticking with our two base pillars here and here, but a much more realistic opening, sort of like something like this. I can still hang my smaller grill across there, and I think that's going to be a lot better. The big problem, of course, is that I want to remain access to this hole here for the tray. And if I don't do something about closing that hole off, though, obviously then we're going to get smoke coming up here and around here and around here, and I don't want smoke coming up here either. So I'm going to have to sort that out, and I've got some ideas on that. So anyway, so the plan is really to make the hole smaller. Let's just get on with it. Alright, so that might be an issue. Alright, that's as much as I'm going to do today. It's a good couple of feet high, and that's probably at the point here on either side there where the lighting's terrible at the moment. I do apologise, but I'll come back here maybe. So this here is at the height where I want it to start arching over like so, which is a whole nother issue. So if you remember back to when there were discussions about the mantelpiece, and a lot of the reason why this opening was so big was because I needed a bridging piece out of wood, because I can't get a piece of stone that big, and I needed this to be that high above the heat that it wasn't going to burn this. That's basically why it's that big. So I can't have a wooden bridging piece down here, obviously. So I'm going to attempt to build an arch. I'm not going to do that today because I want to get some heat into all this first and get this drying and setting overnight before I do start putting any more weight on that. Now the big issue with doing any sort of stone arch is, of course, you need some sort of temporary support to hold it up there until the clay dries, and then you can remove the support and hold the arch. So I did originally have the idea that I was going to cut like a half section off of a stump that would be big enough to fit in there, and I could sit it up with some supports to the right height and use that. But yeah, it's too much like hard work. But yeah, whilst it looks pretty on camera, me using the old vintage saw on one of those stumps, yeah, I very quickly found out it was just too much like hard work, so I ditched that idea. So I do have an alternative idea. Whether it works or not, I'm not entirely sure. I won't know till I try it, but I'm not going to show you what that is. You'll see that on next week's video when I start, hopefully, doing that arch. I'm going to have to go and get some more stone and everything, and I'll do all those other sorts of things. So anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to get a fire going, and then we'll start thinking about cooking. Let's get on with that. I'm hungry. I got a new bit of kit to try out tonight. I mentioned when I did the chain hangy thingy things in the fire to hang the Alton Goods grill that you can get from Alton Goods, I don't know. They do a grill hanger set, and I wasn't sure how much they are. Well, I ended up going and buying it. So, and it's pretty cheap, like $24.95. So, packs down pretty small. It's pretty light. Not an endorsement, of course, because no, I paid full price. So, yeah. So you just get a couple of big hooks. It's obviously designed to hang on a fairly decent bit of wood, stick, branch, whatever, and then you've just got some open hooks at that end to go onto the grill itself. So before I get the fire going, I'm going to go and suspend this and figure out a height and how I'm going to do all that first, and then we'll get the fire going. All right, there we go. I'm pretty happy with that. A bit hard to see in there, obviously, but you know, it's maybe 5 or 6 inches off the base, and nice and sturdy, more sturdy than what I had previously arranged. So I'm pretty happy I went with that. I think not quite level, it'll do. Alright, so we're doing the cooking segment of today's episode. It's a usual story. Sun is about to set, and I'm still waiting for the coals to die down, so it's probably going to be a cooking through into darkness. On the positive though, today's first day of spring, so days are going to start getting longer, and I'm going to start getting a little bit more light in the afternoon. Yeah, that should certainly help out with the cooking sessions. So as I mentioned at the start, today's recipe, it's not really what kind of recipe, it's what I'm eating today, is another suggestion from a viewer, a long-time viewer, a long-time subscriber and commenter and supporter of the channel by the name of John. And so thank you very much, John, for your suggestion. Now, I hope you will forgive me though, John. I am applying a little bit of artistic license to the suggestion. So John's suggestion was he'd like to see me do bacon wrapped shrimp on rice. As it would have it, I'm off rice at the moment. So yeah, so to go with the in place of the rice, I just grabbed some bok choy, and I'm just going to wrap that in foil and kind of steam it in a foil pack on the fire, just nice and simple, because we want the hero of the dish to be the prawns. So John wanted to see some bacon wrapped prawns, so we want that to be the hero of the dish, of course. Just on some skewers, I'm going to do those. So I've got some nice king prawns here. I've still got to clean them and de-shell them. I've been wanting to do prawns in the bush here for a long time. I love prawns, and but I've just thought, oh, maybe they're a bit of a pain in the backside with cleaning them and all that, and yeah, and the smell and everything, if you're gonna sort of take the shells and the heads and all that out with you, and then typically me, I'll let it sit in the car for a day or two before it ends up going in the bin, and then my car stinks. And so this is why I ask for these suggestions, because if you don't suggest them, when you offer me a suggestion, I'm more likely to do something that I probably don't want to do, just so you can see me do it. But actually, I'm pretty keen to do this, actually. Yeah, so I've got a big bag of prawns. It looks a lot, but I'm sure by the time that I deal with it, it'll come down a bit. So anyway, let's, I want to get the bok choy done and ready, and on the fire, steaming away first. Right, let's see if I can make some sort of foil pouch thing. Right, onto that I want. So I'm just going to chuck onto that some just fairly basic salt and pepper. And I'm also going to chuck in there a little bit of garlic paste. Should do. And what I want to do, I also want to put in there just a little bit of water just to help that steam along. Right, so the coals are still kind of burning down, so to start this off, I think I'm just going to put on the smoking rack, and because the prawns will probably take forever to prepare, because it's not something I'm particularly good at. So the other thing I'm going to do is just to tweak this recipe a little bit, is I'm going to, once I've taken the shells off the prawns, I'm going to put them in the bag here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of flavouring on them. This will make for riveting YouTube. So how about I pause you there, I'll bring you back when I've got all these done. That's one. Rightio, 3 hours later, 2 dozen prawns de-shelled and deveined. That was a nice reminder as to why I don't do prawns while I'm camping. Anyway, these are going to be delicious, absolutely delicious. So I'm just going to pop these in a bag. Right. I just thought I'd chuck a bit of flavour on them before I wrap them in the bacon. I'll chuck some salt and pepper in there. A bit of garlic. Coriander. And just some crushed chilli. And a little bit of toasted sesame oil. Just give that a good mix. Right, we'll start prepping some bacon. I'm just trial and erroring this. This is probably one of those recipes I should have maybe done a trial run at home or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. What's the harm? There's definitely not enough bacon on that bit. Go around like that. That'll work, is it? That'll go like that. Alright, that's my attempt at bacon wrapped prawns. I didn't bring enough bacon. I do have another packet of bacon, but that's for breakfast in the morning. So 2 of them have got bacon wrapped prawns, and the rest has got just prawns. But yeah, they're still going to be good. Now I'm going to have to try and see if I can get these onto that grill. Have a go at that lot. So last week I had a pile of ribs. Well, not last week, well, you know what I mean. Last visit I had a pile of ribs. This week I got a pile of bacon wrapped prawns. Oh, they smell so good. Yum. Just a right amount of char on there. They've done beautifully. They were a bit fiddly to get done on that grill, but man, oh, and I'm just going to finish it off with just a little bit of ketchup mayonnaise, sweet soy sauce. Yum. Oh, yum. How good does that look? And believe it or not, that bok choy is under that massive pile of prawn. Alright, I'm hanging to give these a go. I've got some of the bacon wrapped ones on top, so I might just pull that off. Bit hot. Oh, yum. Oh, that's a winner. Oh, yum. That is delicious. Great suggestion, John. Wasn't the easiest thing to be cooking. I don't know that I ever want to cook them again. If anyone else wants to see me cook prawns, please unsubscribe. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. That is delicious. I'm really glad I went to the effort of doing that. Man, I can't wait to tuck into these and eat these. These are so delicious. Yum. Another one off. Alright folks, I'm going to sit down and smash this, and I'll be back to you shortly. I really need to stop cooking meals for two when I come camping with one. Ooh, that was amazing. That was so good. Yeah, another awesome recipe. So thank you very much, John. Really appreciate the inspiration to do that. Yeah, it was a lot of effort. I'd probably maybe I'd do a little different next time. Maybe, I don't know. I hope I did it justice, mate. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it though, and plate is clean. I've had to clean up pretty quickly because the prawn bits and pieces were attracting the flies, and the bin bag now is quite a few meters away out of the shelter. Right, so I'm going to have to give my body a little bit of time to process that massive mammoth pile of prawn. And then I think I still have to cut some wood. I've still got to set my tent up. It's starting to get a bit chilly. The sun's gone. And I'll settle in for the evening. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I didn't show you my axe, did I? I do have a new axe. So I got a new axe. I did speak about getting a new axe, and here it is. And if you want to see any more than that, you'll have to come back next week. Sorry. Hi there. You might remember me from such scenes as the introduction to this video. Now, at the beginning of this video, I did make a promise. I promised that I was going to give you some good news about the site. So when I was here last time, which was about 3 weeks ago, as I was leaving right next, very close, like probably as the crow flies, maybe 700 meters from here, there's some logging going on. And when I came out of the bush in my car, I think they got a little bit of a surprise even to see me come out in really what was an active logging zone. And there was a state forestry worker sitting there in his ute with his flashing light, I think, preparing to manage any traffic that was coming and going through the area. So I stopped and had a chat to him just to ask if I could get really just any sort of indication from him as to how far the logging was going to continue, because it appeared to be coming in this direction. And he was like, oh, not much further. And so I vaguely described where the site is, and he was nice enough to look it up on his little computer terminal, and he was able to confirm for me that this particular area where I am was last logged around about 10 years ago. And from his understanding, that means, going by the data he was seeing, they're not expecting to come back and re-log this area for another 10 to 20 years. So that does mean that we've got a little bit of security on the shelter. I would certainly expect that within the 10-year mark, I will have moved on to something else or retired. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, who knows? I might be on to my third or fourth or fifth shelter. Maybe by that time I may have finished this shelter. So yeah, anyway, I was pretty excited and happy to get that news, and I just thought I'd share it with you. It means that it'll be a long time before the bulldozers come in. Anyway, back to the end of this video. Alright, so yeah, I gotta go and chop some wood. So thanks for coming along. If you're not a subscriber and you like this sort of content, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you get a notification every time new videos are uploaded, which typically happens every Saturday, New South Wales Eastern Standard Time in Australia at 8 AM. Don't ask me what time that is. If you're not in Australia, it's different. Alright, that's it. And yeah. Thanks for coming. I will see you next week. Hang around for a sec and you'll see a snippet of what's coming up on next week's video. Thanks for coming. Bye. Okay, so I'm going to start today with bridging this gap, and I want a nice curved arch. What I've got to do is basically build an arch of rocks over this way like so. So what I did, I come up with this.